Welcome to this lesson. In this lesson, we are going to look at cone. It's one of the solid shapes, three-dimensional figure, which is cone. So by the end of this lesson, we are going to calculate the volume of a cone, total surface area, also the height and radius. So when we have a solid cone, we have the vertex or the vertices. This side is called the slant height, and the mean height is here. The radius and the height makes a right angle triangle, and the base. So this will be the net of a cone. So the net of a cone, if you have a cone here, the base is a circle. See the base? Then this surface that we see is semicircle, which is pi r. Then you have the slant height L. So when you cut a cone and open it, you see that the base is a circular shape. So the area of it is pi r square. Then the distance from this side to that side is pi r, because the distance around a circle is 2 pi r, bounded by the L, which is the slant height. Therefore, the surface area of a cone is pi r square plus pi r h, which is total surface area of a solid cone is pi r square plus pi r h. Good. Pi r square plus pi r h. Let's take an example. A solid cone of radius 7 centimeters and height 10 centimeters. Calculate the slant height of the cone, the curved surface area, the volume, then total surface area of the cone. Let us check this. So by the question, we have our height, which is 10 centimeters, our radius is 7 centimeters, pi has been given as 22/7. So finding the height, we use Pythagoras theorem. We state that hypotenuse square is equal to opposite square plus adjacent square. So if you look at this diagram, triangle VOA, VA is the hypotenuse. So therefore VA square is equal to VO square plus OA square, OA which is the radius. So we set in the figures. VA, we don't know the actual value, so leave VA square is equal to VO, which is 10 square plus 7 square. So 10 square will give us 100, 7 square give us 49. So we get 149. So to get VA, we find square root of 149. So we get 12.207 centimeters. So that is the slant height. Slant height. So we come to the curved surface area of the cone, which is pi r L. So you now insert pi is 22/7, r is 7, L is the slant height that we obtain here, which is 12.207. So when you multiply 22 by 7 by 12.207, we'll get 1879.878/7. So when you divide, we get 268.429 centimeters. So this is the curved surface area of the cone. So the next question says you should find the volume of the cone. So the formula is 1/3 pi r square h. So we insert the values. So 1/3 pi is 22/7. So r square, which is 7 square, means 7 times 7 times 10. So you multiply 1 by 22 by 7 by 7 by 10. We will get divided by 3 times 7. We will get the answer to be 513.333 cubic centimeters. So what we have to do is that multiply all the top numbers, see here, divided by the down. Then you get 513.333 cubic centimeters. We are now moving on to the total surface area. Total surface area of a solid cone is pi r square plus pi r l. So pi is 22/7. R is 7, so 7 square. We already have the pi r l, so we insert in the value. So the pi r l is what we obtain here. So we just bring it back here. So 22 times 7 square, which is 49/7, will give us 154 plus the curved surface area, which is 268.429. we'll get 422.429 square centimeters. So that is total surface area is the base, which is pi r square, plus the curved surface area, which is pi r n. And we already know the curved surface area, so we calculate the base, then we add it to the curved surface area. Let's take another question. The volume of a solid cone is 3080 cubic centimeters. If the radius of the base is 14 centimeters, find the height of the cone. So the solution. The volume, according to the question, is 3080 cubic centimeters, 3080 cubic centimeters. The volume, according to the formula, according to X, is 1/3 pi r square h. So we equate the formula to the value of the volume given to us. So 3080 is equal to 1/3 times pi, which is 22/7, times r square, 14 square h. We don't know h. So to be 3080 is equal to, so we multiply all the top, 1 times 22 times 14 square, all over 3 times 7h. So when you multiply and divide by 3 times 7, we'll get 205.33h. So we divide both sides by 205.33h. So it will be 3080 over 205.33. And here to be 205.33 over 205.33h. So our h will be 15 centimeters. The height will be 15 centimeters. Now let's move on to how to form a cone. So we form a cone from a sector. So we have a sector is a part of a circle. So this is a circle. Then a sector is being cut from the circle, and this sector is used to form this cone. Let's see how we do it. So the radius of the sector given the question is equal to the slant height of the cone. So you should know that the radius of the sector is equal to the slant height of the cone, and the radius of the cone is given by radius of the sector, which is big R, times theta, the angle that subtends the sector, over 360. Then the cone formed is a hollow cone. The cone formed is a hollow cone, and the curved surface area is the same thing, pi RL. Total surface area is the same as curved surface area, pi RL, because it's a hollow. The base is not there. The volume of the cone is the same thing, 1/3 pi R square each. 1/3 pi R square each. 1/3 pi R square each. So this is a summary of how to form a cone. Let's take a sector of radius 14 centimeters subtends an angle of 60 degrees at the center of a circle. The sector is then cut from the circle and folded to form a cone. Folded to form a cone. We have to find the radius of the cone. Then also we have to find the total surface area of the cone. So this is the sector. It's having radius 14 centimeters. It is subtended by angle 60 degrees. And note, the radius of the sector is the same as the slant height of the cone, the slant height of the cone. So we are to find the radius of the cone, then the height. The height and the radius will be obtained by us. So let's continue. So the radius of the cone is given by the radius of the sector times the angle theta over 360. So radius of the sector is 14 times the angle 60 over 360. We give us the radius of the cone to be 2.33 centimeters. So the B, using Pythagoras theorem, 14 square is equal to a square minus plus, using Pythagoras theorem, it will be 14 square is equal to a square plus 2.33 square. So 14 square is 196 a square, then 2.33 square is 5.43. Then we group like terms, so the 5.43 will move to the 196. So to be 196 minus 5.43 is equal to h square. So when you subtract, you get 190.57 is equal to h square. So you find square root of both sides, you're going to get h is equal to square root of 190.57. Then we get 13.8 centimeters. So that is the height of a cone formed. Now we now move on to the total surface area of the cone, which is given by the formula pi RL. So the pi is 22/7. The R is the one we obtained there, which is 2.33. Then L is the radius of the sector, which is the same as the slant height of the cone, 14. So we multiply 22 times 2.33 times 14/7. We get 102.52 square centimeters. Now let's move on to truncated cone. truncated cone. So when you say truncated cone, it means part of the cone has been cut out or cut off. We have cut part of the cone. So when we get this, you see this cone there. This small r is the radius of the cone cut off or cut out. Then this big R is the radius of the remaining cone or the full cone. And this H is the radius of the full cone. So when we get a question like this, we need to continue form the full cone from it so that we get a clear picture. So X represents the height of the cone cut off, as we have the small r being the radius of the cone cut off. Then H is there, the big R is there. So the radius of the main cone is big R, as we know. Then the radius of the cut cone is small r. So the height of the main cone is h plus x. So you see the height is from here to here. So the remaining plus the cut, that's why it's h plus x. Then the height of the cone cut off is x. So using similar sizes and proportion, so radius of the cone cut is equivalent to radius of the main cone. So we express it as r over big R, small r over big R. Then x, which is height of the cone cut, over the main height, which is h plus x, which is they are equivalent or in ratio form. So radius of the cone cut is to radius of the main cone. Height of the cone cut is to the main height. And remember, the main height is h plus x, is the full height. So let's take an example. We have an example. This figure is a truncated cone. The radius of the cone cut is 6 centimeters. Then the radius of the main cone is 12 centimeters. So we have to find the height of the portion cut off, and we have to calculate the volume of the remaining portion. So what we need to do is that we have to draw the full cone. So this is the full cone. Our x here is the height of the cone cut off. Then this 4 is the remaining height. 12 is the radius of the cone, the full cone or remaining cone. And 6 is the radius of the cone cut off. So as usual, radius of the cone cut off over radius of the main cone is equal to height of the cone cut off over height of the main cone or the remaining cone. So you do cross multiplication. 6 will multiply s plus 4, that is 6 times s plus 4. Then 12 will multiply x, which is 12x. Then we expand. 6 times s is 6x. 6 times 4 is 24, is equal to 12x. Then group all x. So this 6 will now go to the 12 side. So it will be 24 is equal to 12x minus 6x. So it will be 24 is equal to 6x. Then x will be equal to 4 centimeters. So the height of the cone cut off is 4 centimeters. Therefore, we are looking at the volume. So the volume will be volume of the remaining cone is 1/3 pi big R square big H. This big R square means the radius of the main cone. So this big H means the height of the main cone minus 1/3 pi small r square minus small h. So this small r means the cone cut off, and this small h means the cone cut off, the height. So the height of the main cone is x plus 4, and our x is 4, so it will be 4 plus 4, which is 8. And the height, the smaller height, or the height of the cone cut off, is 4 centimeters. The radius of the main cone is 12 centimeters. Radius of the cone cut off is 6 centimeters. So we do substitution. So it's 1/3 pi is 3.142. Then our big radius is 12 square. Then our big height is 8. Then 1/3 our pi is 3.142. Our smaller radius is 6, to be 6 square. Then our smaller height is 4. So we multiply 1 by all the numbers here like this. So it will be 1 times 3.142 times 144, because 12 square is 144, times 8 all over 3. Then the same thing, 1 times 3.142, 6 square is 36, times 4 all over 3. So if you multiply all the top here over 3, we get 1206.528. So you multiply all the top here, you get over 3, we get 150.816. So if you subtract 150 from 1206.528, you will get 1055.712 cubic centimeters. So that is how to find a truncated cone. So we have come to the end of the lesson. I hope we will find more examples to do. Thank you.